On the news tonight, Tinubu shifts return trip to Nigeria, heads to London. Kano government disburses and distributes ATM cards to 45,850 girls for education stipends. FCT trade mall flood, 116 houses affected, FEMA. JAMB pegs minimum admission score at 140. Seme border not open for vehicle importation. On sports, fans to decide Pesero's fate, NFF chairman. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access all of our broadcasts. The news shortly. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was initially scheduled to be back in Abuja Saturday, has proceeded to London, United Kingdom, for a short private visit. Dele Alake, Special Advisor on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, announced these in a statement issued on Saturday. He said the president will be back in the country in time for the upcoming Eid al-Kabir festival. Alake said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had on Friday concluded his official trip to Paris, France, during which he had an outstanding participation in the summit for a new global financial acts and pact hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron. The presidential spokesperson set aside his participation at the event, where he represented Nigeria well. President Tinubu also held high-profile sideline meetings with fellow heads of state and government, global business leaders, and chief executives of leading multilateral and development finance institutions from around the world. He added that the summit afforded the president the opportunity of projecting on the global stage his advocacy for widening the physical space, economic justice for Africa as the world accelerates the pace and pace of energy transition, and the urgency of addressing the pressing issues of poverty and climate change. Moving on to the next story. Governor Yusuf of Kano has flagged off the distribution of ATM cards for a conditional cash transfer totaling 917 million naira to 5,800 schoolgirls under the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment in the state. This is contained in a statement issued by his acting press secretary, Malem Isham Abi, in Kano on Friday. The exercise was held at the Government Girls Secondary School, Janguza, in Tofa local government area of the state. Yusuf said that the beneficiaries were drawn from 19 local government areas of the state that are educationally less developed. He explained that the project includes the provision of stipends, rehabilitation, and construction of classrooms for effective teaching and learning. The governor reiterated the commitment of his administration towards improving the education sector. Moving on from Kano to Abuja. About 116 houses were affected after an early morning rain flooded the Trade Mall estate along airport in Abuja. The Director General, Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Abbas Idris, emphasized that no life was lost. There were concerns earlier that at least one life was lost in the incident. Idris appealed to residents whose houses are built on the water channel to relocate, stressing that the flood at Trade Mall estate was caused by infractions on the water channel. Nkechi Issa, head public affairs at NEMA, quoted our boss as saying that the Trade Mall estate was prone to flooding. Idris explained the floods have receded. I appreciate all stakeholders and residents for their effort and cooperation at the Trade Mall estate to ensure that no life was lost. The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, had predicted heavy flooding in the FCT. He advised residents to always use the 112 emergency toll-free number in the event of an emergency. From that story from Abuja, we go to the next story. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has fixed the minimum scores for candidates to secure admission into universities in Nigeria at 140. The board also pegged the minimum cut-off marks of Polytechnic at 100, while that of colleges education was fixed at 100 as well. The decision was reached at the 2023 policy meeting on admissions to tertiary institutions in Nigeria. taking place at the National Judicial Institute, Abuja. From that jam story, we go to the next story. The Nigeria Customs Service says the federal government has not lifted ban on vehicle importation through the Seme border. Hussaini Abdullahi, Custom Public Relations Officer, Seme Area Command, disclosed this in an interview in Seme, Lagos State. Mr. Abdullahi explained that the service had not made such a pronouncement at all, though a proposal was written by some freight forwarders to the federal government following advice from Ademola Adegoroye, the then Minister of State for Transportation. He said the former minister had visited the border to inaugurate some projects sometime in February, when the freight forwarders put up a complaint to him about how the ban had affected them. The minister had advised the freight forwarders and members of the border community then to put their request in writing. The customs spokesman said that a recent visit by the Director of Road Transport in the Ministry of Transportation, Ibrahim Musa, only confirmed that the letter by the freight forwarders had been received and acted upon by the ministry by forwarding it to higher authority. Seme border was among the 4 land borders reopened by the federal government on December 16, 2020 by the then Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed. Before reopening the 4 land borders, the federal government had on August 21, 2019 ordered the closure of Nigerian borders to curb smuggling of goods and weapons. The Calabar Division of Court of Appeal on Friday, June 23, 2023, upheld the conviction of Senator Basi Albert Akpan on money laundering charges by a federal high court, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and ordered his arrest. Justice Agatha Okeke, and on December 4, 2022, found Senator Akpan, then governorship candidate of the Young Progressive Party, YPP, guilty of 7 counts of money laundering, preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and sentenced him to 42 years imprisonment without an option of fine. Akpan was prosecuted on allegation of receiving vehicles valued at 240 million naira as bribe from companies linked to one Olajide Omokore, a contractor who executed a 3 billion naira contract for the government of Akwa Ibom State, whilst Senator Basi was Commissioner for Finance and Chairman of the Inter-Ministerial District and Direct Labor Coordinating Committee. The offense contravenes Section 15, Bracket 2 of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011, as amended, and is punishable under Section 15, Bracket 3 of the same acts. However, dissatisfied with the argument and judgment, Senator Akpan on December 29, 2022, approached a vacation court in Port Harcourt, River State, presided over by Justice S.I. Mark of the Federal High Court, and secured a post-conviction bail on health grounds. But upon release from prison, Senator Akpan continued with his campaign to be governor of Akwa Ibom State and subsequently approached the appellate court in Calabar to set aside the judgment of Justice Okeke. While arguing against the appeal, counsel to the EFCC, Ekele Iheanacho, urged the court to uphold the judgment of the lower court, dismiss the appeal, and revoke the said bail granted to Senator Basi on the grounds that the prosecution proved its case beyond reasonable doubt and the charge was validly filed. Delivering judgment today, the 3-man panel of the appellate court, led by Justice Raphael Chikwe Agbo, upheld the conviction of Senator Akpan, but varied the sentence by granting the appellant an option of fine. The court also affirmed that the appellant should restitute the sum of 240 million naira to the federal government through the EFCC, and that the said restitution shall not be a prerequisite for his release from the correctional facility. The court finally revoked the bail and ordered the arrest of Senator Akpan. From that story of Senator Akpan, we go to Kano State. No fewer than 1,064 suspects were arrested with 7.5 tons of illicit drugs between June 2022 and June 2023 in the state, said the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Kano. This is contained in a statement issued by the NDLEA Acting Public Relations Officer, ASN 2nd Sadiq Megatara, to mark UN International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking in Kano on Saturday. The theme for the year 2023 is People First, Stop Stigma and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention. According to him, drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking are global issues that threaten the health and well-being of individuals and the society as a whole. He said the suspects arrested comprised 1,001 males and 63 females. Mr. Megateri said the total drugs seized within the period under review is 7,530.813 kg of drugs, which is made up of 5,022.8673 kg of cannabis, 2,096.837 kg of psychotropic, 47.013 kg cocaine, and 65.24 kg of heroin. He added that during the period under review, the command secured 111 convictions, while 126 cases are still pending in court. In our drug demand reduction (DDR) activities, we admitted 96 clients and conducted 1,081 brief interventions, which included 701 males and 380 females. Now to Osun State. Brigadier General Bashir Adewimbi Osun Amotekun Corps Commander on Saturday said the Corps arrested 2 armed robbery suspects for robbing a female trader returning from market in Ilarangun. Adewimbi in a statement said the suspects, Joseph Dennis, 20, and Friday Agogo, 29, both indigents of Benin State, also threatened to stab their victim with a knife while robbing her. A complaint was lodged at the Amotekun Ila command on Friday by the affected woman. The victim reported that at a thick area of Elemo Ogun community while on her way to Ilarangun town. After selling her farm produce, the suspect attacked her and collected her money and also attempted to stab her with a knife. She said though the assailant covered their faces with masks, she was able to recognize the voice of one of them. Our operative, based on the information, quickly swung into action and apprehended the suspect at the hideout, he said. The commander said during interrogation, the suspect confessed to the crime and also stated that they had been in the act of robbery for a very long time. Adewimbi said the suspects were handed over to the police for further investigation and prosecution. The Corps commander thereafter advised residents and traders to be cautious of their movements and avoid going through unsafe routes. He equally admonished them to report criminal activities and suspicious individuals to security agents closer to them. From Osun story to the foreign story. The African Development Bank has assured President Bola Tinubu that the bank will support his efforts and vision in improving the agriculture and power sectors in Nigeria. The president of the AFDB, Akinwumi Adesina, disclosed this after a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the sidelines of the new Global Financial Pact Summit hosted by the French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris, France. Adesina said it was a great opportunity for him to see Tinubu, personally commend him for the thoughts and ideas he has brought to the summit in Paris, and also discussed so many things. I discussed with His Excellency the President about a couple of things. We discussed especially according to agro-industrial processing zones, for which we already have about $520 million for Nigeria, and how we are going to make sure that that project actually gets accelerated. The other one we talked about is about the power sector, how we will bring support to his efforts, his vision, and that of his government with regard to access. The president wants to ensure that there is access to electricity in Nigeria, and therefore he talked to us about how we can support him, and I gave him the assurance that we will significantly support the power sector in Nigeria, Adesina said. And to end the world news is sports story. The future of Super Eagles coach Joseph is in the hands of country's football fans, according to Nigerian Football Federation President Ibrahim Gusau. Football fans have criticized the Portuguese for having poor technical knowledge. However, Gusau revealed that we have the plan to push the votes to Nigerians to hear their views and thoughts while speaking on the Loving Football radio show. The NFL president admitted that the country's top football organization had previously attempted to hire both foreign and domestic coaches. However, we stated that finding the right person for the job is the Herculean task. We have tried the foreign coaches and also the local coaches. Maybe we didn't get it right in the area of getting the right person. We are going to push it to the public, whether we should continue with Pesero or it should go, Gusau added. This is no way diminishing Pesero's experience in the dugout after managing Porto and Sporting in his home country. The 63-year-old took over as manager of Nigeria's football team in May last year. He led the country to the Africa Cup of Nations finals in Ivory Coast beginning in January, but his contract expires on June 30. Nigeria has won 4 and lost 5 of the last 6 matches since failing to qualify for the last World Cup in Qatar. Many football fans have questioned his choice of players of the Super Eagles team, citing allegations of bias in the selection of Nigerian players playing in Europe's top leagues. Notable among them is presence of the team captain, Ahmed Musa. With our sports story, we conclude today's world news. Before we go, some major headlines. Tinubu shifts return trip to Nigeria, heads to UK. Kano government distributes ATM cards to 45,850 females for education stipends. 116 houses affected to flood FEMA in Abuja. JAMPEG's minimum admission score at 140. And to sport, fans to decide Pesero's fate, NFL president. For updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Mori Rabila Lawal. Good evening.